You are live.
Everyone.
Oh, boom.
Live.
It happened. We're here.
It happened. Oh, and another friend is here. Hi, Portia.
Yes.
Woo. Also, lots of people in the chat. Hello, wonderful people.
Out here.
Hello,
I love
folks.
it.
Yeah, I saw somebody up earlier at like 10 minutes ago. So shout out to our early birds to say that everyone should go share the stream if you haven't yet. Please go do that. Like share the stream challenge, share the YouTube link wherever you can. Let's see how many people we can get here.
Yeah.
So, we should introduce ourselves real quick, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
Hi,
it.
I'm Janae. My pronouns are she, her, and I work for the Harry Potter Alliance.
Yay. I guess I'll do myself real quick because then I can go get my really technical special lighting. The lamp I'm going to drag across the room. I'm Katie, also she, her, and I work for the Harry Potter Alliance.
Yay.
Now I'm going to try to not be distracting while I get this lamp. I'll just turn off my camera. All right.
I'm Bayana. I am a co-founder and editor-in-chief of Black Girls Create. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Robin. I'm co-founder and chief community officer at Black Girls Create, and my pronouns are also she, her.
And I'm Portia. I am a director of partnerships at Black Girls Create, and I'm also a volunteer with Harry Potter Alliance. So, and my pronouns are she, her.
Like I do all of this. I'm with both words at the same time.
I would have been cheering were I not arranging this lamp for Black Girls Create. But now, oh God, that's not. Sorry. I went to tilt the lampshade and the entire light bulb went with it. So no good. Well, welcome everybody. It's very exciting to have everybody in the chat and talking and everybody here. Why are we here tonight, folks? We're celebrating the Black Girls Create Birthday House Cup, which has been going on for quite a long time, but well, not quite like a month. You had your birthday month,
Yeah.
but it had to get extended to rise to the challenge of this very important time in history and time when we need to be doing a lot of work to support people who are on the front lines of trying to end police brutality. Do you all want to tell us a little bit about the House Cup? How does it work? How can people donate, et cetera, et cetera?
Oh, go ahead. You got it.
May is the birthday month of Black Girls Create, and we normally will spend that month doing a fundraising. Think about your local PBS station fundraising, and then also just kind of celebrating and talking about what we've done for the past year and what we plan on doing. And so this year we were doing a house cup where if you donated, every dollar got a point for your house. And our goal, and then we made a stretch goal. We hit our goal pretty quickly, which was amazing. And then we made a stretch goal, and we were going to split the proceeds with We Need Diverse Books.
We're still doing that.
Which we're still doing.
Yeah.
And then we were doing that, and we were going very well. We were getting a good response, and then the world blew up a little bit, and we were seeing all of these people sharing bail funds, and we were trying to figure out how we could help with that effort. So we extended our House Cup again. So if you donate to Black Girls Create, we are splitting those donations with We Need Diverse Books initiative. But if you donate to a bail fund or in a very positive way, a lot of bail funds have gotten a lot of what they need, and then they tell us of new places that we should be supporting. So if you give to kind of a organization that is on the ground doing work to help support the movement lives, we will take those donations that you gave and add those points to the House Cup.
Yeah.
So that's where we're now. And it has been amazing.
It's been great. And it's a 1-to-1 like donation. So if you donate $1, then it's 1 point towards the house. So what you can give, that'd be great. You're a Ravenclaw, you know.
It's this weird thing right now where I'm like, I love this. I love the response, but also, can y'all calm down? Ravenclaws were in the lead for so long.
And now we gotta.
And I have this moment every time there's like a new donation and someone takes the lead. I'm like, yay!
As a fellow Ravenclaw who always oversees the HPA's House Cups, can relate.
It's really hard. It's like when Ravenclaws like donate, I'm like, I try not to like respond like, love to see it. Like, blanket, thank you.
Yes. Also, if you are a claw, love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you make a good donation, please?
Mm-hmm. And we've had like some amazing things. We've had people reaching out to their to people that may not have even heard of us, and they're, you know, like, so the outreach some of it is borderline collusion. I'm not gonna lie, like recruiting. If this was like sports, there were a lot of recruiting violations, but it all goes to a good cause, so we're all happy either way. And we've had a few people doing matching, so that's been fun. So like we've had a couple of people say, I'll match donations or I'll match up to this amount. So that's been great. And so the cup to end in June, but we're extending it until the 6th. And this is our like big hurrah, guys. So giving to, and I also want to be like giving locally when you can, because like the fight for Black lives is everywhere. This is not just national, it's global, and there are numerous victims of police brutality, victims of systematic oppression and injustice and systematic racism. So don't feel that like everything needs to go to Minnesota or Louisville, though they do have a particular need. Like, give to your community too. That also helps. It's the more we reach an understanding and a consensus point across the globe about the challenges that we face, every city, small town, the more that message is getting across and people are showing their support, the better it is for everyone, everywhere.
And we got a new banner that includes that message.
Sorry about my typing. This is what I was typing in the background.
And your screenshots, you can either like reply to a tweet or you can DM us, and then
you'll get those sweet house points to Ravenclaw. Or whoever.
We have these really cool graphics for whoever's in the lead. So if you're a Hufflepuff, all of a sudden it's like stunting on y'all.
Yeah.
So, you know, we haven't seen Gryffindor's banner yet. They haven't reached the top.
They haven't been first at all since we started.
Since we started, they have not hit first place. So I'm not saying, you know,
fighting words.
Tonight's your night, Gryffindor.
Despite the best efforts of some Gryffindors who have been putting in work, and you know who you are, we appreciate you. As a whole, as a house.
But you've had Slytherins?
Slytherin is on top right now. Slytherin has been on top for the past couple of days, and they're the ones who've been doing not surprisingly, doing the sneaky maneuvers to get to the first place. I'm
like trying to fix my life here, and
Slytherin and Hufflepuff, and then Hufflepuff just took the lead again. This is very dynamic. Close call, guys. Yeah. And you know, there is no Gryffindor. There's no Dumbledore on the Black Girls Create team that's going to give it to the Gryffindors at the last minute. So don't the world, Lions.
But it sounds like there are possibly some Dumbledores that are going to give it to Ravenclaw in the last minute. So, like, keep them honest.
Work harder.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with this as a Hufflepuff at a Ravenclaw-led organization over here.
I know we should have brought Connie.
I know Connie's mad.
That's
how she feels. Someone asked, is there a place to see the house point totals? Just check out your Twitter, right?
Yeah, we're updating them on Twitter. It's not like live or anything. But like updating like as we get them. And then she'll probably put another tweet out soon. But as of right now, Hufflepuff is in the lead. Let me just double check. Yeah, Hufflepuff is in the lead.
But not that much.
But not, yeah, it's definitely.
Get this is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stay tuned. If there are big changes, Black Girls Create will tweet it. HBA will tweet it. Like we'll announce. You know, if it gets wild, we promise we'll tell you.
Yeah.
We
were getting daily updates, and then lately it's been like, you know, multiple updates per day because everyone has gotten really.
Mm-hmm. They're fired up. Ready to take down whoever. Slytherin? Yeah. I wore green because Slytherin is always losing in our house cup, and I was like, I want to be encouraging. Now I'm on the winning team. Speaking of the winning team, we have a lot of excellent guests who are going to be here this evening. Our first guests are going to be arriving momentarily, but I think, Janae, you're going to bounce for a bit and we'll see you later in the evening. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce and make some room for some guests. But excellent. I will be back in halfway through. I'll be back later. Don't worry about it.
Right. We'll miss you, but we'll
I think Kim and Sequoia are ready. So let's bring them on.
Yay!
Hi!
Yay! Whoa,
Thanks for having us.
Disappeared so fast. Welcome, Kim and Sequoia. Would you like to introduce yourselves to the people?
Yeah, sure. My name's Sequoia Simone. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the co-host of Fantastical Fics and Where to Find Them, a Harry Potter fan fiction podcast.
Yep. And I'm Kim, also she, her, and I am the other half of said podcast.
Yay!
We're so excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, we're super excited too. This happens every time I talk to basically everyone on this screen who actually knows how to do a podcast recording. And I like look at the equipment and I'm just like, oh boy. Portia, you're with me?
Very impressed. I just got a ring light, so I felt like I was advancing myself.
You really are. Do you have it on right now?
Yeah, and I got my wallpaper, so it's kind of clear. I'm testing out if the big light works better or if my lamp works better. We're currently going through that phase.
Nice. I like it. I've got a dark lamp where the light bulb falls out, so I think we're ready to make some magic here. I think before we dive into talking to Fantastical Fics, there are a couple questions in the chat about what's the best way to indicate what house people are in. Should they just include it in the screenshot they send you? Or if
you
their Wi-Fi goes in and out sometimes. If you put it in your tweet or DM, whichever way you're sending the screenshot, indicate your house, and you could use like the icons. You could put an eagle or a lion or whatever, or badger, and the thing will know what that means.
Perfect. So cool. So Sequoia and Kim and I were talking a little earlier today, just over email, and you all brought up an interesting topic, I thought, which was talking about ways how to draw on the traits of like all the different houses to affect change. And I think that could be a really interesting topic, and I'd love for us all to chat about it. And while we're chatting, the rest of you all can participate and also be putting in your donations. There's a link below.
Go Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
Thank you.
I came out repping my Slytherin. I got a snake ring on. I got some snake earrings on. I'm ready.
You're winning. You're winning right now.
Out, my friend. I'm wearing a yellow shirt by accident.
I'm wearing a Captain EO shirt, which I think, like, he is the original Ravenclaw. I mean, sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we were thinking about how, like, of course, you choose a house kind of based on what you think your primary values are and what your primary skills are. But that doesn't mean that everyone isn't all of those things or capable of all of those things. And right now, it's really important that we're drawing on all those skills that we have to make sure that we are doing our absolute best to further the movement. So, yeah.
We're all drawing on our Gryffindor bravery to stand up, or our Slytherin ambition to foresee the change and affect it in the world, and our Hufflepuff, I don't know, empathy and love. And
kindness, yeah.
Sure. Are Hufflepuffs kind? I don't know.
They are depends on who.
Depends on their person.
Hufflepuff kindness and love to those who deserve it, and that badger fierceness for those who are on the wrong side. Yes, who are on the wrong side of history.
Yeah, exactly. Hufflepuffs, you got to put in the hard work right now. Like you have to sort of keep on the grind, and you also have to understand that it's going to be work to dismantle your internal biases and be willing to do that work,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think there's some Gryffindor bravery in seeing the faults in yourself and admitting them and working on fixing them.
Yeah.
Slytherins are there too.
Slytherins, I have somebody else told me this. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Anna Dardick, because this sounds like something she would say. But Slytherins are really the people that, like, when you really want a campaign to affect change, like, those are the people you want, because they are the ones that are going to be like ferreting out, like, all right, who do we have to talk to? Like, what are the doors we have to knock on? What are the doors we have to knock down? Like, they're going to be like getting you secret information and, being very real about, like, let's put this plan into action,
It's also the ambition thing, right? So, like, Slytherins are not going to just settle for the first thing given to them. They're like, no, we have a goal and we're going to hit it. We're going to meet it. So there's that too.
As evidence of the current House Cup, right?
Yeah. Came out of nowhere.
So it's been so fun to watch it. It's like, oh, who's winning today?
I'm curious of if will it truly end? Will tomorrow truly be the last day? Because it's been through all these, it just keeps getting extended and extended.
That's true. We'll see, but I'm pretty sure Delia is like ready to do something cool. We just keep sending her screenshots and like links, like, hey, and there's another one.
Where are we at now? She's like, I'm trying.
We had a couple people say they don't have Twitter but still would like to donate. They could just email us? Okay, email us, email you. What would you like?
Either one. weblackandnerds@gmail.com is our email address. We are also Black Girls Create on other socials. So if you send us a DM, and if you have Instagram and you send it to us that way, or I think that's it. Don't send it to us on Facebook.
Yeah, because
we're not going on Facebook. But
why in the world not? You don't need to answer that.
Facebook is one place where we will probably not see it. So
someone liked your Captain EO shout out. So very nice. Fanatical Fics friends, have you all been still recording and releasing episodes during the pandemic, during isolation? How is it? How has reading and celebrating fanfic been during all of this? Is there is it helping, or do you have times where you're just like, why these fics? Why like this?
I mean, there's always more silly old stuff that we can find. And I do take a lot of comfort in that nostalgia bomb that we get every once in a while. We found some pretty good nonsense recently, but I think fan fiction's a great solace whenever, because, you can write whatever you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, we usually record together, and we've been recording separately. We haven't seen each other in several months. Hello.
So weird.
Yeah. Hey, so that's been a big change. But other than that, like, you can just, no matter what the circumstances are, you can get lost in fan fiction for hours, like 3 hours into AO3. You're like, what happened to my whole afternoon? So, it's always good.
I think speaking of AO3, we reached out to our patrons earlier looking for some good fanfics maybe to shout out, and we got several of your fanfics. Black
Yeah.
Girls.
Oh. Which one do you know, like off the top?
They linked to the Black Student Union verse.
Oh, okay. Word. Oh, okay.
The BSU verse showing up.
For anybody who doesn't know, what is the BS universe?
Okay, so Hogwarts BSU is a project that we have on our website where we ask Black Potterheads to write Black characters into the Harry Potter universe. So a lot of them are like stories, some are like kind of like encyclopedia, Wikipedia pages, some are like, we have some fan art. So it can be in a lot of different formats. And then the BSU verse is a kind of like, it's basically like, what if, it's a story. So like me and then Connie, who is our managing editor, we are like collaborating on that particular one, where it's taking the Black students in Hogwarts and actually putting them in an actual BSU. And then like whatever shenanigans occur. So it's like, so BSU versus like within like the Hogwarts BSU umbrella, where like any like folks can submit their stories and then we like edit them and put them out, and yeah, that's great.
All the stories in the BSU verse exist in like the same little universe with the same characters.
Yeah.
Brittany in the chat had a much shorter explanation of what it was, which is just, it's everything. So if you're not familiar, it got top shout out. It is also a podcast totally just about fanfic.
Yeah.
It's everything. So yeah, y'all should check it out.
Highly recommend. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I
think it's just amazing whenever they're
anywhere.
Yeah, they need to. Well, that's not true. I read some Marauders fic before we started BSU.
What'd you say?
A good Marauders fic.
Yeah.
Oh.
I said I didn't really read fanfic before we started the BSU project. So
now she can't stop reading. That's all she's been reading.
It's been fanfic, but it counts.
Marauders era is just you're still getting shout outs of like great fics in the chat.
Oh yeah. There are a lot.
And if you are Black and you write fic and you want it to be on the Hogwarts BSU, let us know. Send it to us as well.
Yep.
Beautiful. Don't forget, folks, do be donating to the link below or to a local organization near you or local bail fund. Kim and Sequoia, do you have any funds or organizations you want to shout out, or places that you've donated?
We donated to the NAACP's legal fund,
Nice.
and to Know Your Rights Camp. We also donated to. We donated to a couple places. But yeah, I mean, anything that anyone can spare is going to do good where they put it right now.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true. Sorry, I'm just checking because I think we have more like I'm at like our like studio, like broadcast studio, and our Twitter and our G chat, and I'm getting like a lot of messages all at once. So I'm just sorting through the chaos at the moment. Kim and Sequoia, if people want to listen to your podcast or just hang out with you on the internet, where can they find you?
They can find our podcast by searching Fanatical Fics and Where to Find Them on anywhere you can find podcasts, and you can follow us on social medias at Fanatical Fics.
Yay!
That's us.
Yay! Listen to them. Get Rex for excellent fics. Get read to a little bit, which is nice and can be a very soothing thing. Awesome. Thank you both so much for coming on and for being here. And I hope you have wonderful evenings, and stick around, hang out with us in the chat.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing the rest of everybody, and thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Donate.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Oh, I'm in control of this. Okay. Usually when we do this, I make Janae be in charge of the background here, but Janae is getting a break, and so we've left a novice in control of the buttons, and that was, well, that's the decision we made. All right.
It sounded like when you said that, like you're like, I'm in control now. Like, wahaha.
That not quite what I was going for. All right, so we have our next guest coming up is from the Unspoiled podcast, and I think she is here and ready to go. Had to stream.
I'm gonna take a break, but I'll be back in a bit, guys. Hi.
Hey.
Bye. Yay!
How is everybody doing?
Hello.
Love your headphones.
Thank you, my little kitten ears. Yeah,
Those are the
they
cutest
light up,
things.
but I forgot to charge them, so you guys don't get the whole show. I'm sorry, that's my bad. I was unprepared.
It's still pretty wonderful just looking at them as is.
I do love them.
New special guest, would you like to introduce yourself and where are you from?
My name is Rashawn. I'm a co-host on the Unspoiled Network, and I was the Unspoiled unicorn for our Harry Potter show.
Yeah.
For those that are familiar with the show premise, we will have one host that is completely familiar with the material that's being covered, and the other host will have no idea. So I had never read Harry Potter. I was in my 20s when the books came out, so it was kind of behind me,
Mm-hmm.
And I agreed to read them because Natasha is very persuasive. And I just love them so much. I'm a huge dork now.
Relatable content.
I'm here for all this Ravenclaw love too.
Oh yeah. Do we have an all Ravenclaw stream right now?
I think we do.
Nice.
Let's take over the world while everyone else is watching.
We'll take over the world with a really good book. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the perfect time to trash talk all the other houses. But before we get to that, yeah, let's see. Do you have, we can really talk about like whatever people want to talk about, but I have a suggested topic if people want, which is just sort of, we are going through this time of like tremendous social change and upheaval, and like it's, I think, leading to good things, but also is causing quite a lot of strain on individual people. And I'm really curious, just from everyone here, like what do you think are stories or media that you really love that is something that sort of like helps you like feel inspired or helps you sort of like recharge or
I have thoughts.
Oh.
So it's almost the inverse of what you're saying, because one of the things that we encountered when the Unspoiled group, and I know it's not just us, is there's a certain contingent of people who want to insist that these stories are apolitical. Mm-hmm. And we would get comments and bad reviews that we were inserting our own identity politics into the story. And I don't understand how you read these books and are not inspired to act for the greater good and to be better. How these books are inherently political, even though we have all, I think, collectively decided that JK can just kick rocks.
Who?
But
what's that person? I never heard of her.
Exactly, right? Like, I'm not familiar with that name. What now? But so when people would come to us and oh, you're ruining a childhood story, by making it political, I feel simultaneously really embarrassed for them because they shouldn't be saying that out loud, but also sad because these stories are such a good primer and they hit right at that perfect age. If you were coming of age when these books came out, right? She gave us a story that told us it is okay to be on the side of right even when it's not popular.
Yeah.
That certain ideals are worth sacrificing for. All that's there. And people who would read it and then just find it impossible to implement it in their own day-to-day lives, like just completely missed it, is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
So I have very little patience for people like that.
I always kind of feel like there's a little bit of or not a little bit, but there's like a crisis of imagination in the US. And like it comes in both like not recognizing the like stories that are inherently deeply political as being based on real world and everything like that, and then also coming in with like everything going on now where people are saying like, oh, defund the police, like let's not have police, and people come back with like, well, what do we do with whatever, and you're just like, what an articulate sentence that was. But people come back with like, well, what do we do with rapists, and you're like, I don't know, but it can't be worse than what we currently do.
Listen, what are we doing about them right now?
Yeah, exactly. And so,
I love that expression, a lack of what did you say? A crisis of lack of imagination?
A crisis of imagination.
I like that a lot.
I think I don't know, I think a lot about imagination and doing fan organizing and everything. And that's like, I don't know, is the same thing like during when everything happened with the pandemic kicking off, and we all got those stimulus checks for one time $1,200, and they were like, that'll take care of things, and you're just like,
it's fine, $200.
Well, even it happening right now with people like being, like, we got to reopen, we got to get everything reopened. These businesses, they can't afford, small businesses, they can't afford to survive. And you're just like, but what if we had just decided that they should, and we should give them, what if we just we stopped the rent for a while?
Yeah, right?
Like, what if all the loans that they put out are supposed to go to small businesses actually went to them? And
how about that? How about that?
The NBA and these really large corporations.
They had to be shamed into doing the right thing when there should have been, and there were people in the position that should have said no. When those loan applications for the Lakers came across someone's desk, someone should have been like, yeah, no. But we are just there's so many people in these positions of power that just simply do not care, and will, every time they get the chance between doing the right thing and the wrong thing, they will do the wrong thing every time.
Yeah.
And that can be really disheartening. And that's the other great thing about this community. I am so in love with this fandom, you guys. I cannot even. But I love that, as far as my experience has been in the last, we started Unspoiled Harry Potter, I think in 2015, maybe. My experience has been people constantly wanting to put energy into being better, like it's not just about signaling that you're on the right side. It's about trying to put some sort of energy and effort into it, whether it's donating, whether it's reading things outside of even Harry Potter, right? Like I know a lot of our listeners have contacted us and said, oh, you guys mentioned this writer, this book, you know, this activist, whatever. And I went and checked them out on my own. And I'm so glad you shared that, you know, just this vibrant community that seems really willing to always learn and grow and course correct and self-correct, you know. And you just don't get that a lot of other places. So I'm so proud to be a part of this. And I'm so tickled to watch all these different communities. Like, you know, Black Girls Create got the House Cup going. Where is Ravenclaw, by the way, in the House Cup standing?
Oh, so we just got an update. So right now.
What is it? Who's
Hufflepuff's
leading?
in the lead.
Okay.
And then Ravenclaw's in second. And
Nice.
then Gryffindor.
All right, so we just need to mobilize then.
Yeah.
Call, motherfuckers. Call.
Yeah. Caw right here. I mean, I think I'm pointing at Rashawn, but like further down.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to send your money to her, that's fine too. That is also okay. I will not say no. I would like to shout out an organization in Minneapolis. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
They're on the ground there. It's called Reclaim the Block. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of work around defunding the police, which I think is, you guys were talking about that before I came on air. Mm-hmm. It is the next step. It is where we need to be moving. You know, we spent all this time and all this energy and all these years with the conversation around reforming the police and retraining the police, but it is by definition an organization that cannot function for the benefit and the betterment of its citizens. You know, you can't. It's just not going to work. It's faulty. It's corrupt. It's broken. We need to be putting our energy and our focus in defunding them and trying to imagine what justice looks like when it is not authoritarian. You know, like, what does restorative justice look like?
Yes.
And I can't believe that I'm actually hearing on mainstream television, like the mayor in Los Angeles was talking about it, like they're talking about it in Minneapolis, in Breonna Taylor, who,
it's her birthday.
Yeah, it was her birthday today. She should have been 27, you know, but instead she was murdered in her bed. Mm-hmm. And the Public Safety Commission in her city just put more restraints on no-knock warrants. They mm-hmm. didn't undo them and ban them, but they have put in like 3 or 4 extra steps that you have to go through before you get the warrant signed. You know, these are the things mm-hmm. we need to be focused on, in my opinion, and moving towards. And I'm excited that these once really considered, you know, crazy ideas are creeping into sort of our mainstream. So I'm excited about that too. And I'm done. Okay, I'm done.
There's a Facebook post, but like it's public. I think you can look at it without having Facebook. I'm gonna look for it to share. But it's an activist who's just been collecting like all of the wins in the last week and a half of like reforms being made around the country and stuff like that. It's a really long list, and it's getting longer and longer. So I'm gonna look for that to share.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really Reclaim the Block is doing really important work. Thinking about, now I'm distracted because I'm looking at their website.
Listen, when we record it, we have live recordings. I'm not allowed to look at the chat because I'll completely lose my train of thought. So I have to pretend like the chat's not even happening, or I'm just worthless.
I can relate. So we have more guests who are going to come on and stuff. But I have two questions just before you go, possibly short ones. But do folks, we know we all love Harry Potter, but does anybody have anything that they're really loving reading right now that they are suggesting to folks, but Portia seems ready to roll.
If you're talking about reading,
I have a few books for Black Girls Create, so I always have books like in my stockpile, and I feel bad right now because I have one that I've read and one that I'm reading through that I should be writing reviews on, and I just haven't had it in me yet. But one of them is Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. We had her on Black Girls Fantasy World's talk that we had on BGC, and she debuted with a bunch of other really cool Black women authors who are writing about Black girls in fantasy worlds, clearly. And it's a story about two girls in high school who are growing up in Portland, and the importance of like owning your voice, and like literally one of them is a siren, so like she has to go through the book trying to figure out her voice and stopping like resisting it and like actually like using it. And then the other book that I'm reading is by another debut that came out like this Monday, is Song of Wraith and Ruins. Is it Song? Yes.
Yeah, Song of Wraith and Ruins. Yeah.
It's like two books with song in it. I'm like, am I right? Am I making that up? Yeah. So that one's about this kingdom where the princess is basically like an anti-hero. Like nobody likes her. And possibly that's just kind of like, I think in the world, her people probably think about her as like King Joffrey, because the people around the circle, like all the advisors and stuff, they keep her secluded in the palace. So they're able to say whatever they want about her and give her a bad reputation in the kingdom. And that's basically what's happening. And she runs into this, I like it. It's funny. I've seen the author, Roseanne Brown, talk about like it's like basically like Aladdin but different. So basically her co-lead character is like basically Aladdin. Like he's this poor boy from an outside village and he's a street rat, I guess, and they somehow meet and it's like through a competition and it's pretty interesting. I'm only like halfway through it.
Yeah, both are we did spotlights of both of the authors on our website. So if you want to like check that out, it's at blackgirlscreate.org and they're there. I'm very excited. My books are like haven't come yet. Like I ordered them and I'm just like waiting for them to come in the mail and then.
Oh, beautiful. Rashawn, you have any?
I am rereading Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde, which is a collection of essays and speeches, and it's something I come back to periodically. And in this moment, I just, my husband actually got me a new copy for my birthday because I couldn't find my other one. So I've been reading that, and that's, just really helpful in this moment for me because, she talks a lot about making space for yourself, and being able to use your voice in a way that, like, from a place of power, and how difficult that can be, especially for Black women who are, traditionally like the least listened to people. So that's been really, it's always comforting. I like to go back and read that. And then for funsies, we are doing Dresden Files on Unspoiled.
Nice.
And I am the Unspoiled one for that as well. We are on, this guy wrote like 20 something books. I don't know how I got wrangled into doing this. It's obscene. It really makes no sense.
Are you reading all of them?
Yeah, like we're doing the whole Dawn.
So you're ready for the next 4 years.
He's got 2 books coming out this summer, like a book in July and then a book in September. I'm gonna be doing this till I'm 80. But those books are a lot of fun, just balls to the wall, crazy magic and fights, and so that's been a lot of fun. So that's what we're doing. And then we are covering Westworld season 3. We just did our first episode this week for that. And we're officially done with Harry Potter on Unspoiled, but there are we haven't done the second Fantastic Beasts movie. We're not sure if we're gonna. And so we may like mosey back around to it just for shits and giggles because it's so much fun. And yeah, and then of course Natasha is doing 8 million other things, which is why she wasn't here tonight, because she's actually recording right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, Rashawn, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah.
It was great. And it was good to see you guys too, ladies over there.
Yeah.
Nice to see
Nice
you
to see
again.
you. We don't have any cons this year, so it's like, hey.
Man, oh. Yeah, I was getting ready to say something, but I'm like, oh wait, no, this is public. No.
In
Say
your
that for the private chat.
in your hearts, not in your Twitters. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Check out Unspoiled Podcast and Network. So, bye. All right. And our next guest is here. And let's bring her on.
Hi. What's up?
We just love it.
The claw in the
I didn't
house.
bring out the Ravenclaw.
Oh my gosh.
Love to see
It
you.
wasn't intentional that I planned an all Ravenclaw podcast, but I'm not mad about it.
The Ravenclaw love continues.
Yeah.
Back for another one.
Jay, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit more. What are you famous on the internet for?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Justice. I'm a cosplayer as well as an editor, consultant, and advocate. I do lots of fun stuff with editing comic books and literature, and there's a little of that. Been cosplaying for 10 years. My big claim to fame, I am the model for She-Hulk. You can see me on A-Force #1 on the cover, looking big, mean, and green.
That's so cool.
Also created a web series called Legacy. It's a Doctor Who Torchwood crossover, and BBC America was awesome enough to spotlight it for us. And next year we'll be having the finale to our series, so that'll be fun. That
is so cool. That's a way more. I already knew you did a ton of stuff, and that's way more cool stuff.
That's like 2 of the things. I'm Jamaican. I have 9 jobs. So if I'm not busy, I might be dead. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you're busy then. Cool. I want to ask you cosplay things because before I started going to cons and having to rep the HPA, and so just constantly having to spend my life in HPA wear, I used to go to cons and cosplay and everything and not be good at it, but still be very excited about it. So I am just curious, when did you start cosplaying? Do you remember your first cosplay?
I'm not that old. Geez,
that. I don't know. You're very for a lot of things.
Well, you don't get good at something unless you actually enjoy it, in my opinion. You can't make somebody I guess a lot of kids who have been forced to learn piano are actually, you can. But my first year, same as you, not good at it at all, but had a great time. This is back in 2009, 2010 era where it wasn't as much an industry as it is now. People were super nice, no matter how janky and ridiculous your costume was. I'm talking duct tape, staples, safety pins, hot glue, whatever. I believe my very first Storm tiara was made out of a wire hanger that I twisted into a shape, and then I covered it in automotive vinyl because it was the cheapest thing I could find. It looked like leather.
That's cool, though.
I tried to make sense out of that. It wasn't cool. It was a bad idea. Oh, God. So, yeah, I think back to those days, and I'm like, oh, baby Jay, what were you doing? But I had fun, and that was what mattered. And the more I saw people in really good costumes, I was like, I gotta get better. I gotta work on this and make it really look like something. So kept doing it. And you know what they say, if you're good at something, eventually you should probably get paid for it. And the first job I got I wasn't looking for it. It found me. And then before you know it, you're doing book signings and costume appearances and whatever. And people were giving me tables as a guest. And I was like, I should probably sell stuff, I guess. So I didn't even have cosplay prints until the first contract I signed required me to have them. So then I'm like, oh no, I should have been taking pictures this whole time. So I had to track down every photographer I'd ever worked with, hey, what's your policy on prints of people? Like, do you care if they sell them? Can I donate them? Like, what's the deal? And a lot of them are super nice. And it's like, oh, if you donate part of the proceeds to like St. Jude's Hospital, you can sell it. And I do that just because why not? Like, you should always give back if you can. And but I will say for baby cosplayers paying attention right now, taking notes, talk to your photographer about sales rights before the shoot. Yeah. Good advice.
Pro tip.
So that way you don't, end up with someone who's like, well, actually, I'd rather you not show these to anybody. It's just for me. Because I know people who spent 2 hours on a photo shoot with someone on location to find out that the photographer did not want distribution of the photos. Like, why did I do this? Like,
No.
I'm talking not even to post online. I'm like, then they should have paid you, because then you were like a model. You weren't even a cosplayer. You were like, it's because in America, if you're in a picture, the picture belongs to the photographer, not to you. In Europe, it's different. If you're in the photo, it is your property as well. Things we learn. Yeah, you got to be everything when you're a cosplayer. You got to be your own lawyer, photographer, seamstress, tailor, therapist, whatever. Like, you got to do everything. Oh my god.
This is, man. So we've had a couple of questions coming in from the chat.
Ooh,
I feel like I'll just go with those. Well, the first question, of course, is do you have a favorite cosplay? Favorite costume?
My favorite costume is Commander Shepard from Mass Effect, because Shepard is a character that you create yourself to play the game, so you can make her look like you. And I don't know if y'all play video games, but they don't have a lot of options for Black people. Like, they don't have textured hair. The first Dragon Age game, you couldn't even have brown skin. How can you have brown hair and brown eyes, but the skin tone stops at like sunburn? Oh, I have dragged them for that. They fixed it. In the last one, the character looks so much like me. It's great. But in Mass Effect, from the first game, you could have a character that had dark brown skin, and they didn't really have like good hair, but you could do it in like a bun or something and like whatever. So having her look like me and having her voice for Jennifer Hale, who's amazing. I'd only ever done sewing. I'd never done armor, and I learned how to make armor for that character because I love her so much, and it was so great. Got to meet like most of the cast in that costume, and it was fantastic. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh,
I might tell the story of how I horribly burned myself during the process later. It's a long story. We're not going to get into it. But the moral of the story is, when you're using heat tools, wear gloves, children. Wear gloves.
You have so many skills and secrets that the rest of us just have never had the opportunity to learn.
Every cosplayer becomes a jack of all trades by the time they're done with it, unless you're lucky and like somebody in your polycule knows how to do this, that, and you like trade. I'll make you muffins and you make me this cowl. Like, okay, you can work it out. But for the most part, if you're on your own, like right now, I have to self-isolate because I'm immunocompromised and everyone's got COVID or whatever. So you can't really go out. I have enough supplies to make a decent amount of costume stuff. It's just that with mental health being negatively impacted with all the events happening, it's really hard to find the motivation to create something when you're like, oh, I guess I'll wear this at a con in 3 years when there's a vaccine, or if you're sad, if you have anxiety or depression because of everything that's going on right now, it's really hard to channel the happy part of yourself that you use to create. And that's kind of what I've been talking to people about a lot this week. A lot of us are struggling to find motivation, to find a reason to go on. And it's like, well, sometimes you have to just focus on what you can do for other people, and it kind of gets you out of your funk in terms of feeling sorry for yourself or feeling sorry for your community. Like, well, I can do more than just be sad. I can be sad while fundraising for a charity. So
down below. Yay! What a seamless transition that was. That was
speaking of, we also have an update. So Ravenclaw is in the lead now.
Yes, that's right. Get it, kids. Get it.
Janae's back in 4 minutes, and I'm just gonna say, yeah, Hufflepuff sucks.
No, they're not. They are very good, and they try very hard. They're just not as good as we are. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. Hufflepuff doesn't really suck. I just need to briefly trash talk Janae. That's it, everyone. That's all.
Oh, I saw her comment.
What?
Shocked, offended. We love you. It's fine.
I'm in control of the studio right now. Although I've wildly derailed us, I do want to just recognize you said a lot of really important and very real stuff in there, and I think that's so important right now to just like, so many people are struggling, like feeling like they're by themselves and just sort of being like, why can't I like do what I need to do to like help fix the world, or like why can't I focus in the way I used to, or whatever. And it's just like, it's real, like we're all in this place of like really big struggle, and there's just, you know, everyone's trying to do their best. I don't know, this is a lot of babbling and you did better than I did, but I just want to acknowledge there's a lot of people here who are sad and fundraising for charity tonight, and I think that's great that we're all doing that together.
I feel like at the end of it, if you pushing through your sadness helps someone else get out of a bad situation, because being in jail sucks, especially when you look back on this in a few years from now, everyone present, we didn't do anything wrong. We're asking not to be murdered. That's it. And I think that people being forced to be in jail for things like this is ridiculous. And the people who are in there for like, you know, trumped up charges or whatever, I really want a full revamp of our justice system. And I know this can take a lot of work, and this is the least that I could do. Like, if I didn't have a body that's too busy trying to destroy itself to fight actual germs, I would have absolutely been outside right now, making sure people didn't feel alone, bringing food, bandages, whatever I had to do. And I'm happy that I can at least do something. And we're always looking for more things to do. So I'm happy that we're able to come together and try to make whatever difference we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we have several people watching too who are also immunocompromised and feeling the same sort of level of like, I should be out there. I'm a caregiver for somebody who's been going through chemo, and so I've been trying to stay healthy. I think it's but I think like by donating, y'all are really doing good work to help people on the front lines, and by you know, talking about all of these issues, like you're all doing good. Like it takes a lot to move a country forward, even though it shouldn't, because like you said, what you're asking for seems pretty reasonable. Of like, please don't murder Black people, or even better, don't murder anybody. Let's murder no people.
How about no police violence at all? Like, why are you beating people who are just protesting on the street? Can we just not walk?
Or who were just going to CVS to buy tampons and ended up getting arrested for protesting? And she was like, "What?"
There's a guy who was leaving work.
They were like, "Oh, you should have already known you were going to need those tampons." She's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Not how it works.
And her poor family. So her family's at home wondering what happened to her. She was going 2 blocks. She was gone for 6 hours because the police detained her for no reason. Civil liberties, what are those? I know, and it makes us so angry that we want to like forego our own personal safety just to go outside. But I'm going to repeat this to another person who is immunocompromised and was fighting with herself. Like, should I go to the protest? Should I stay home? And I was like, sis, you can't fight the power if you did. Okay, so take care of yourself first. Okay, you must secure your own life jacket before helping the person next to you.
Yes.
So until we have impermeable bubbles that we can go out in, we're gonna fight the power from our own couches. Okay, like that's, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
I want to see somebody in a protest at one of those big like hamster.
I don't trust the popo not to stab it or something, so it won't be me.
Mm.
Nope.
I will say that like I've been to big protests, and I've been at home, and you don't have to feel like you need to be out on the streets to make a change. And there's also like so many different ways in which you can lend your voice, especially people who have access to I guess mainstream white audiences. Like, we as Black people know this. Like, none of this is new to us. None of this is shocking to us. And so if you're plugged in and you're seeing what's happening and you're seeing things come across your timeline, or you're seeing people who are on the street fighting on the front lines, basically, and you also know that you have influence, or you can start a conversation with someone who wouldn't listen to the people on the street, that is just as helpful. That is just as important. And like, you know, there are so many different ways in which you can make change. And like Jay said, like, you can't make change if you did.
Mm-hmm. So start there. Yeah.
It's like step 1, stay alive. Step 2, fight the police. No.
Perfect. That summed it up beautifully. Jay, our next guests are waiting in the wings and stuff. But
okay, I'll do a quick sign off.
Well, where can people find you? Yeah,
you can find me at ThatJayJustice. That's ThatJayJustice. I'm streaming on Twitch. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. I'm going to give a shout out to Annie Sagara. The future's accessible. It's for everyone. We all deserve to be here.
Yes, fantastic shirt, fantastic person. Thank you so much for being here. It was an absolute blast to have you.
It was so fun hanging out with you guys. Hope I can see you again soon, if not at a con, because no cons this year, but hopefully again online.
Yeah, yay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. And I'm going to bring back Janae, who needs no introduction. Here she is. And I'm also going to bring it back on. I'm going to bring our next guest on.
Hello.
Who is right here.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
I'm on. I'm in the
I'm sorry. That was the worst. I'm so ashamed. I'm gonna bounce. No. I'm gonna go, but really quick, Janae will take over.
Yes, I will. Also, I just appreciate that Robin and Biana just switched places.
Leave us alone.
Just to mix things up. Bye, Katie.
And how do I do this?
Wait, I got you. Cool. Well, hey, Jesse.
Hello.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick? What you're from, what you do, where we can find you?
Yes. So I am Jessie Blount. I am one of the co-hosts of the Gaily Prophet, a queer Harry Potter reread podcast, in which we humorously and ruthlessly analyze we're going to analyze every chapter of the book. We're currently 2/3 of the way through book 3. So
nice.
Yes.
I also really appreciate the t-shirt you're wearing right now. It is.
This is our logo. Great. This is available in our shop.
Great. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. So Jay was kind of talking about this before, and I just think this is such an interesting thing to talk about, and kind of thinking about, okay, like what are the strengths that we have if you aren't able to actually physically go to the protest? And now I'm kind of thinking about like, all right, what would the different houses do? You know, like what are those different, which if you're in the chat, tell us what your house is and what you think like your biggest protest helper strength is, or your movement helper strength is, besides physically going to a protest. But do you all have any thoughts?
I actually came prepared. I have a list.
Perfect. I love a list.
And because I'm a Gryffindor Sun Ravenclaw Moon, that is why I am very prepared. So yeah, do you want me to start?
Yeah.
I'm starting off with Slytherin. So if folks want to also chime in on some things as I go through, then we totally should. So one thing that all of our Slytherins out there could be doing is, if you have the spoons for it, you could be, from either your account or a fake account, you could be spamming the hashtags such as Blue Lives Matter or Blue Family Line with information about what's going on, how much cops suck, about like just your solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement and this rebellion that is happening right now. It could be the videos of those cops attacking peaceful protesters and be like, oh, is this what you're supporting? So
yeah, also one side note for K-pop fandom, really showing up the other day.
Yeah, the K-pop fandom is somehow doing more than most elected officials, which is so beautiful, but also very tragic.
Yeah, speaks a lot to K-pop. Shout out to anyone who's in that fandom. I don't really know how to find a central K-pop fandom. Someone let me know if you know how to do that.
I feel like they're just everywhere. So
Yeah.
they will find out.
So many companies and stuff are people, like individuals, getting their reputations kind of destroyed in this moment. And the K-pop stands went from being my least favorite people online to being like my favorite people online. So like you can go the other way, you know what I mean? Like,
you can turn it all around. With one very Slytherin move.
Yeah, I feel like the HP fandom, we really need to step up to where the K-pop are. So another thing folks can do, Slytherins can do, is there is plenty of secure communication apps that you could be researching and spreading amongst your friends. As we know, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are very insecure. Facebook will totally give your information to the cops. So if you're involved in any organizing or know folks, you should tell them about all of the ways they should not be using Facebook Messenger to like make sure that their conversations and your planning is very secure.
Mm-hmm.
So, another thing that Slytherins can do is keep those receipts about which ones of your elected officials are being terrible right now, to break out among election time and be like, oh, you said that you're progressive? You remember when you said how much you support the cops right now? Yeah. No.
Mm-hmm.
Bring those receipts, Slytherins.
Hashtag is this you?
Yes.
Yeah. I so many of those lately.
Yeah.
So many. Man, we're really seeing our Ravenclaw bias in the chat right now. Or it was just that all of the Ravenclaws had an answer first about what exactly the thing would be.
I put Ravenclaw last because I wanted to make sure I got the other, because I knew the Ravenclaws were like, we got the information down on lock. I didn't know the information like crazy, but we gotta let the other houses have their own. Like the Gryffindors. A lot of Gryffindors, of course, are here on the front lines. But if you're like me and you have asthma and you don't want to be in a crowd during a pandemic, maybe you're at home. So you can definitely, if you're able, throw all of your money at organizations doing direct action, like doing bail funds, if there's like any mutual aid in your area, those kind of organizations, even just to straight up your local Black Lives Matter channel. Give them some cash. If you're able to, if you're not, immunocompromised, tell your friends who are going out there, they can come crash at your house, or you can come pick them up, because as we know, in many, like every state in the United States is having a protest, many different countries are having a protest, things are getting out of hand. Sometimes you need someone to roll up with some whatever it is you use for tear gas, antacid and water, dump in your face and to drive you away safety. Definitely some, hands-on Gryffindor approach. Also for Gryffindors, you could be sending the most rage-filled calls and emails to your local official. If you own a house and you're white, you better be like, hey, I'm a white homeowner. You have to listen to me. I pay taxes doubly. Stop this. Stop this shit. Get your most, all cops are bastards postcards and send it to your local governor and be like, stop this mess.
I'm thinking about my a couple Gryffindor friends, and it's really funny because both of them have, like, both of the people that their first people that came to mind as like Gryffindor folks have been doing a lot of the like, here's the information, here's the stuff, here's the like really yelling about things, and then also posting like, you can come to my house, like I'll get you the supplies, like all these things. It's everything you're saying. So far you're doing real great with house allegiances and analysis of exactly what they would do.
Yeah. All the houses would do this, but I also feel like Gryffindors are also making really witty signs for people to have at their protests. My favorite, it's not a sign, it was a chant, but it is because I am queer. It's just bottoms, tops, we all hate cops. And it brings so much joy to me. And it's like, yes, we can all come together under our rainbow flags, talk about how much we need to oppose the police.
We can all come together.
So, yeah. Great. So if there are any fan artists out there, and you want to draw Miss Lupin and Sirius Black holding a sign that says that, because you know they would. She got on.
I would like to see it.
I would also please tag the Gaily Prophet on the channel.
At Ravenclaw. I want to see it. You do a Wolf Star protest art?
Oh, wow. I want it. Just bring it to me. Bring it to me. Speaking of protest art, I'm gonna move to our Hufflepuffs. I have a soft spot for Hufflepuffs. My girlfriend is a Hufflepuff. I love her very much. So shout out to the Puffs out there. And especially
Katie.
And especially because you know what? Hufflepuffs, I know a lot of you are saying snacks. I also put snacks on my list, but we need our Hufflepuff artists to be out here creating stuff that are inspiring and educating all of us, and also things that bring us joy. Like, where are my, ridiculous analysis memes about cops? I want y'all Hufflepuffs to be out there. Because not only do they, because sometimes you just need to laugh in the middle of all of how terrible everything is. I'm gonna need it from your Hufflepuffs. So, also, you all probably doing some rage baking. Do some rage baking. Leave it on your front porch for your friends. I mean, call them first and just leave it out there because the raccoons will probably get it. See if any of your local, protesting orgs need food delivered. You could try to organize some meal trains for protesters who have been, arrested, if they're getting out of jail, just for people who are organizing, because the people who have been working nonstop, they're probably hungry. They don't want to eat any more Chipotle.
This just reminded me of something too, because everything is terrible. Black Lives Matter, Oakland tried to send out a bunch of masks and they got taken, which is biological warfare, but that's fine. If you are crafty in that way, make masks, make stuff, because COVID is still out here. So
you know what? There's actually, there's a bunch of tutorials everywhere, but if you'd like a soothing hour chat and tutorial of mask making, you can actually look on the HPA's channel on the Small Things Con playlist. One of our chapter organizers actually did a workshop on how to make masks. So check that out. That's definitely a great resource.
Yeah. And especially if you want to do craft time with other people, just get on a group FaceTime or a Google Chat or whatever and have virtual craft time together.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Another thing that I know I've been doing as a Hufflepuff, and I feel like is something puffs out there are maybe extra skilled at, is just kind of holding space, particularly as a white person, calling in fellow white people, holding space to answer all of the questions that maybe people don't know where else to ask, or holding space for the people who are just can you tell me what's going on? And I feel like that's such an important thing for my white Hufflepuffs out there to be doing right now, of just using all of our friendship and comfort skills to also call those people in and be like, okay, I'm going to make this a safe space for you to ask those questions so that we can get you moving and on our side and into the movement from there, So if that's you, definitely put out some posts or whatnot if you have the space to do that, and just kind of be like, hey, pals, if you're reading this, open invitation.
Yeah, use all that emotional intelligence to go.
Yeah. Walk folks through it.
All right, and now, last but not least, are all the Ravenclaws that are out there. I know there are so many.
I wanted to point that out. We're still in the lead.
Ravenclaws are still in the lead? Yeah.
Very much.
Well, the chat in here seems to be mostly Ravenclaws, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah, somehow that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so there's a ton of stuff. Let's look at the chat and then
wait, we didn't hear what are the Ravenclaws doing though.
Yeah. So I was looking at the because everyone had a bunch of ideas. Okay, Ravenclaws. writing a well-placed email or social media drag.
A Ravenclaw for my last email could just take this thing over the top, guys.
Yeah, those per my last email skills, really.
Well-placed
Ravenclaw. The ultimate spell. Jenny says, I'm a Ravenclaw and I try to map out arguments, which I think is, I want to know more about. Please further explain.
This, then I'm here, or like if they say that, then I'm coming at them this way.
Yeah, kind of like is it like a flow chart of like what you're, yeah, I think that's great. But I want to know more. That's also an extremely Ravenclaw thing to be doing, which is great. Yeah, so what thoughts did you have, Jesse? Tell us what the Ravenclaws are up to.
All right, so I know obviously all the Ravenclaws are sharing information like mad. I'm also doing the same thing, so I know. But I want to remind all my Ravenclaw friends that, again, Facebook is owned by Mike Zuckerberg, who is a literal flaming garbage. And so y'all, we need you to be backing up your information. Save it to your Google Drive, save it to a hard drive, print it out to like give out to people to give out to the protests. Like, you know, we can't trust our social media platforms to keep our information safe and available. We gotta think ahead. We gotta, be the radical archivists / librarians of our dreams. So, make sure your friends are blurring out their protest photos, because we don't want anyone to end up disappear, because it happens. So I'm gonna need my Ravenclaws to be on their information. Information technology. What am I trying to do? What am I trying to say? Information security. That's what I'm going to be. And I also know that my Ravenclaws are really like, here's your book list if you want to read some Black authors. Here's my book list that's actually good if you want to know more about being anti-racist for white people. Here's just some fluff written by Black people. You can just be like, I just want to read a romance novel and not think about the world. Here's a book list. So, because I know y'all got some recommendations. That's also information we need out here. As we need information, but also we need like joy. We need,
Patronus fuel,
lighten our hearts and help us, weather this storm of rising up against the police. So,
yeah. Vanessa just said they're Ravenclaw and getting educated on Black history in their country. Vanessa, which country? And doing research and sharing what they find. I think that's a very good, I feel like Ravenclaws probably read like 3 times the amount that everybody else does, and then they aggregate that so that everybody else can only read like, okay, here's the summary of what you need to know,
Yeah. I think it's also great, like that idea, because we're seeing protests spring up around the world, and there is a lot of anti-Blackness. Anti-Blackness is global, but there are a lot of nuances there. You know what I mean? It's not one-to-one in every country and every resistance around the world. And so it's also very smart to just think about, and I'm a big proponent of empathy in all forms, to find out the history of people and the history of the struggles of oppressed people where you live and around the world. So Vanessa's from
ooh,
yeah.
Hey.
Well, that sounds great. It sounds like a great place to be. I don't know. So,
if you all are still thinking about your list, please continue to leave your list. I want to know all about them. So I guess, Jesse, you obviously have thought a lot about this. Do you have any advice for folks who are just kind of feeling overwhelmed with where to begin here, or feel like they're not doing enough, or is the answer just choose from this massive list and just start someplace, or what do you think?
I mean, I think there are think the first step that for folks that are feeling like I'm not sure what to do next is talk to your friends, post on your social media, like kind of be like, this protest is happening today, like, stay safe, like, or, talking to, people around you, like, it doesn't, we get in our minds that in order to like make change, we have to like, do this like big action, but that's not the only way we're gonna like, make change. Like we still have to, get people who aren't in the streets who are maybe like unsure about what's going on, or maybe like not totally convinced that this is the right way to go about it, to kind of be on our side. We need to know, honestly, the most up-to-date information, because things happen, like are changing daily in different different parts of where people live. So I feel like, just keeping yourself educated and just kind of sharing, accurate information and talking to people about it. If you're feeling sad or frustrated or just kind of like confused, like talk to someone I don't know, if your family's there is something like fucked up, kind of be like, can we talk about this? Or however you go about doing that. There's definitely resources on the internet to tell you how you can talk to your potentially bigoted family members. If that's not the thing you want to do, then like you can work your way up to that. But
yeah, for sure. There's actually, if you go to hplions.org/resources, I believe you should see a link to a guide. You can also Google Neville's Guide to Tough Conversations. We have some information on some advice and tips and tricks for the best way to kind of approach when you do hear somebody say something shitty and you're not quite sure what to say. Hey, thanks, my lovely chat assistant, for posting the bit.ly to Neville's Guide in the chat. Just like magic. Well, Jessie, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Where can we find you? Where should people look for what Daily Prophet podcast is up to next?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun. So we are everywhere you listen to podcasts. Our website is thegaylyprophet.com. You can find our social media channels, a link to our shop, and to our Patreon. It is Pride Month, and we are a queer podcast, and we're doing some extra special fun stuff for Pride, on top of also being extra angry and vocal about our politics, because Pride was a riot, and we wouldn't have our queer rights if it wasn't for people uprising against police brutality. So we are the Gayly Prophet on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website is just thegaylyprophet.com. So just follow us on social media if you want to know more about what we're doing this month and all the other cool things that we have going on.
And I feel like I have to say this every time I talk to you, Jessie, and publicly, the Gayly Prophet name, just in general.
It's so good.
It was not taken before we grabbed it. I'm like, how did anyone leave?
Shocking, actually.
On the table
for
this long.
Like, when we first found out about y'all, we were just like, yo!
I can't take credit for the name. The name is actually created by our local artist in front of the pod, Theo Julian Forrester, who also created this logo that you can buy on a t-shirt and other merch. And he draws comics for all of our chapter episodes that are complementary to what we're talking about in the episode, because
that's
we are a newspaper, we need comics.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jessie.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Bye.
Bye. All right. I'm
gonna
take a little break, but I will be back.
All right, I guess.
Which is why we have a smooth transition.
Oh, okay, all right.
But
that's some galaxy brain. Just one step ahead.
We're trying
to be smooth.
Trying to be smooth with it.
Trying to be smooth. Well, hey, speaking of smooth transitions, I see that our next guest just arrived. Can our next guest give me like a thumbs up if you're ready to actually be live? Yeah, great. Hey.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Good overall, as good as it can be. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. I've been watching the whole time. It's been great so far.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Yes, I have to say that Katie has taken to the phrase "pandemic fine" when somebody asks how you are. Like, you know, as fine as can be expected. That's where we're all at. Yeah. So tell us about you, about your projects. Yeah, introduce yourself.
So my name is C. McCarthy. I'm an activist, an LGBTQ activist, musician, among many other things. My band is called the Nonbinaries. My music partner is Betterment James. They should be in the chat right now. They're a very talented violinist. We've been making music together for over 5 years, and we donate 25% of our profits to various organizations that are fighting for justice. And it's just great to be on here.
Oh, yeah, I'm real excited you got to join us today. I feel like I see you everywhere. Like mostly just like in the internet way. I just see you in chats all over the place. So it's nice to like actually talk out loud for a bit.
Yeah, it's great talking to you too.
Yeah, so I want to talk about, I mean, because obviously since you are a musician, you know, music is one of those things that is so intrinsically linked with protest. And it plays such an important role both like in the history of it and today still. You know, there are a lot of songs that like get passed around and in just like protesting circles. There's also a lot of songs that like are not necessarily the traditional like 1960s protest song, but people still really feel as like protest songs. So I'm curious if you all have any favorites like that.
Ooh, off the top of my head, there's so many.
No, I'm sorry, I put you on the spot.
I'll have to actually link to a playlist later. I like this like 100+ song playlist that has a bunch of them on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's so many.
Robin, do you have any?
Do you have any?
Yeah, off the top of my head, Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine, nice. Which is like so timely right now. And there's a band out of Boston called State Radio that I really loved. I don't know if anyone knows like Dispatch, which was also a really big band for a while. State Radio is like an offshoot of that, and they have a song called Gunship Political. And that's probably one of my faves too. Kind of old. Awesome. They're all like over maybe 10 years old at this point. But I've only really been listening to NSYNC and UK rap during the pandemic, so nice. Pulling out the oldies.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think of the Roots and the Clash. That comes to mind first, but there's so many bands that use their platform to talk about important issues.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, I don't know that I have any favorites that are like specifically protest songs, but the ones that came to mind for me when I was thinking about this, the Oh Hellos is one of my favorite bands, and they have a song called Torches that's kind of about like white nationalism and like cycles of racism and oppression. That's really good. I also, this is revealing my music taste, but I really like I think it's called What Do You Spend Your Money On? Is a great one. Let me see the actual Walk the Moon. So now you know everything about my music taste. But that one's just like, it's a great like anti-capitalist thing, and I just really appreciate it.
And there's also a lot of musicals like Billy Elliot that have songs like that.
Yeah.
So oh, sorry.
Oh, you said musicals, and it made me think of Hadestown, which is also very like, it's a great like anti-capitalist current society sort of commentary, which is great.
Yeah. I was going to say you don't need a large audience to make a difference. If you want to get into music, you can do amazing things with just 100 dedicated fans. You also don't need expensive instruments or bulky equipment to start creating music. For example, I don't own a drum kit. I use small percussion instruments, and I sometimes create my own. Like, there's a lot of creativity that you can put into it.
That's really cool.
I have a couple behind me. I have
yeah, show us.
I got some props.
Oh my God, the water bottle?
Yeah, stainless steel water bottle. You can put like beads inside of it, beans, paper clips, and then depending on what you put in and how much you put in, it makes like different noises.
That's so cool.
So like we'll use things like that. And then the small percussion instruments like small drums.
I love this.
And we'll also just record sounds that interest us, and then we'll just put them into the music.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do.
Why do we think music is so important for movements, or like so linked to movements?
Well, we kind of have like, it's like the music in the background, kind of.
Yeah.
We can amplify voices. Even if you make instrumentals, we make instrumentals. But the visuals of our covers have a meaning. The sounds have a meaning. We donate to has a meaning. And you can donate what you can, but like try to make it as consistent as possible. Like we try to keep it at 25% at least. And we try to understand that intent is different than impact. Like we saw that with Blackout Tuesday, with the music industry created. Like the intent was to not conduct business as usual, but the impact was mostly a bunch of like black squares that were clogging up important tags like Black Lives Matter, which are used for like sharing updates on protests, petitions, and funds. So like solidarity isn't a one-time act. It's a year-round thing, and you can do more than post on social media, and you have to be actively anti-racist. And if you're white, you have to be an active ally.
Yeah, speaking of active ally, if you haven't donated yet, take a look at the link down below. That is one suggestion. You can also donate to something you know of locally that's doing active work, and send your screenshot to Black Rose Create. Robin, has the standings changed at all?
The standings are, the numbers have shifted, but Ravenclaw's still in the lead currently at this moment. I also want to let you guys know something that no.
Uh-oh. Hufflepuff took it back?
Take it back.
Oh my goodness.
This whole stream is truly like a war between me and Katie somehow.
And the Gryffindors have moved up to third. So
hey,
you know, we have movement here, guys. Another thing I want y'all to know is that your parents are also in the house that most parents are Ravenclaws. I just, blanket statement, but like your parents are in those houses. Your elementary school friend who can't understand why you're still talking to them about that book they read in elementary school, they also have a house if you need it, just suggestions. But yeah, we have the Hufflepuffs are in the lead with Ravenclaw's not too far behind, and the Gryffindor is making a surge. So
nice.
Things are moving fast.
Yeah, I know, like, if you've watched other Harry Potter Alliance live streams, we talk about this all the time, but I swear it's true every time. If you are unable to donate, sharing it really does help a lot. The more these links get shared around and the information gets shared around, go to Black Rose Create's Twitter profile and share some of their posts about it. The more eyes on it, the better. You never know like who's gonna see it, who's just like, I have some dollars to send this way. So definitely do that.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that I didn't just send a message to my mother. I did.
Trying to get these numbers up there. My band will be donating later. Our donation will be split in between houses. We're different houses.
Okay.
So it'll be 50-50. I also
what really matters isn't who wins, it's the causes that we're supporting.
Exactly.
But also, Raven.
Katie wants to know which houses it'll be split between.
Gryffindor and Hufflepuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that doesn't help us at all.
Yeah. I wanted to say a couple more things.
Yeah.
So like you were saying that there's other things you can do, like if you can't donate, you can share. And that's the same thing that you've been talking about with the protests right now. Not everyone can go for many different reasons. So like what we can do, if we can educate ourselves, we can listen to and support community leaders and activists that have been doing this work for years. And if you can, donate to bail funds like we're doing today, and to Black-led organizations. And if you're a musician, uplift Black musicians, uplift your peers, help your followers, which you can do if you have a small base, like you can really get to know them personally. And again, if you can't go to protests, you can help with jail support offsite, and you can send supplies to protesters. There's so many different ways to contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been, involved in things before this where, there's so many roles of like, just think about, do people gonna need lunches? Like I had a group once that there was a major protest being planned, and part of what we did was we made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a bunch of folks. Like there's a lot of things y'all can do, and my Hufflepuff is coming out, so that's the first thing I thought of. But so I wanted to ask too, because I feel like C might have some ideas on this, and I'm sure Robin does too. And in the chat, if you have any ideas on this also, are there any artists that stand out to you all as artists who are doing particularly cool work around fighting police brutality right now, particularly Black artists, but curious if there's anyone that's standing out to you.
I'll let you go first if you have one.
Like I said, I've been kind of in a hole of UK rap and NSYNC. So NSYNC actually has been doing a lot of really cool posting, which they don't normally do.
Hey.
They're not Black, but
shout out to NSYNC.
There is a UK rapper. His name's Dave, just Dave. It's another reason why I love him. He has a song called Black, and it talks about the Black experience kind of globally, a lot from the UK perspective, but also just like globally in general. It's not a new song, but it is like something that I think is really, if you are interested in, the experiences of Black people around the world, and also the shared trauma and history that we have, that's a good song to like start off with. Mainstream, I mean, I got to give it up to Beyonce in general for just always repping Black culture and being unapologetic. And I watch Homecoming as Patronus fuel all the time. And yeah, I think there are a lot of other artists. Our monthly feature this month is an artist called, her name's Candace Antique. And she does, all of her music is vocal. So they use all the instruments are like she's loopers and stuff like that, but it's all from
cool. It's the opposite of us. That's awesome.
So she's has her own solo work, and then she also is in a band called Antique Naked Soul, and they do a lot of really good music. And we on our Twitter earlier today we posted a video from theirs called Burn that is also I think a really good song and a really good thing for this moment. So yeah, Dave, Beyonce, and Candace Antique and Antique Naked Soul.
I have to check that out. I recommend Janelle Monáe. If you haven't seen Dirty Computer yet, it's amazing. And I also recommend Clipping. They're an experimental hip hop band, and they're a huge influence on my band. What was that?
Daveed Diggs from Hamilton, isn't
yes,
that?
Exactly. Yeah, they're a huge influence on our music because we are also an experimental band. We dive into hip hop, classical, synth music. Yeah, check them out. They're amazing, and they've been uplifting other artists today on their Twitter because on Bandcamp is waiving their revenue share today, so more money is going directly to Bandcamp artists. So support Black Bandcamp artists today.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just got several more people to go check out. Also love for David and Janelle Monet in the chat. Also Dave.
I know. Shout out to Cheryl, who actually knows who Dave is. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so I guess everyone here is obviously real engaged in fandom. I think I've seen some conversation, and this tends to come up a lot around protest and movements of, what do you think the role of fandom is in something like this? Any thoughts as all the big fans here, of what is our particular role to play, or why does fandom matter right now?
Is it okay if I go first?
Yeah.
So I love the Harry Potter line so much. I don't support the main franchise anymore, but I support you so much. And that's because you give fans tools. You give them tools to create change. It's not about making everything about Harry Potter. It's about making fans into activists. It's the other way around. So I feel like our place in that is to reach out to other fans. Like, if you spent a significant amount of time reading about injustice in fictional worlds, you need to care about the real injustice in our worlds. So I feel like that can be part of our role, reaching out to other fans, not just Harry Potter. That can be something that we can do, that you're already doing.
Yeah, thanks for that extremely succinct explanation of what the Harry Potter Alliance does. Appreciate that. Yeah, Robin, what do you think?
I mean, I agree a lot with what you said. I also think that we, as fans, and especially as fans of this book series, The Hunger Games, Avatar, The Last Airbender, all of these Star Wars, we are able to speak to people in a language that they can really easily understand. I saw a tweet earlier in this madness, I don't know what days are anymore, but they were saying, we grew up reading Hunger Games, Harry Potter, we are ready for this, we're built for this, it's been molded into us since we were kids. And so I think that when you come across other fans who don't seem to understand the importance of this moment, or when you come across other people who don't seem to understand the importance of this moment, you can draw on all those lessons from all of these properties that we've been, consuming our whole lives. And you can use that language to really express the importance of this moment and the importance of standing up for what's right. And, the worst case scenarios of what happens if we don't stand up and what happens if we let this moment pass us by. So I think fans in general are able to kind of use those tools and use those lessons that they've learned and then translate that to a larger audience.
Yeah, I think this is actually not a current video. I did not do the extra steps of verifying this, so not spreading misinformation about videos via Twitter, but I saw a video that was maybe this protest, maybe a different one from, I think it was France, where there were police officers walking by and someone had a horn trumpet, and Katie says I'm Snopesing myself live. Yes, I am. Someone had a horn or a trumpet and they started playing the Imperial March as the police were walking by. And I just think that's such a good example of why fandom organizing can be powerful, and why this idea of connecting activism to fandom can be powerful, because nothing else needed to be said except for that one bar of music, that one bar of information was such a universal, anybody who has vaguely been exposed to that franchise knows what is being said there. There's something about that that's just really cool to me,
Yeah, that reminds me of John Boyega being at protests.
Yeah.
Really showing what it is to be a part of the resistance. Vanessa in the chat mentions that they've been watching these videos several creators have uploaded to YouTube where it generates ad revenue. I know I saw one. I'll link it out on our Twitter because I can't think of the name right now, but I can find it. And it is like an hour long, and you can put your computer on mute, but don't skip the ads. Just let it play. And that ad revenue, all of that, 100%, they're giving to these causes. So if you don't personally have any money, there are also ways in which you can help. And a lot of that is, fandom. You know what I mean? Like
that is so smart.
Learn how to do things, and so people putting up these long YouTube videos, and it's a passive way, another passive way to like help raise money and help show support for these causes.
I saw that. That's a really great option.
I'm letting in our other co-host here. Hey, Katie.
Hi.
Hello. I've been nodding along very actively with all of this discussion.
Yes, I've just been watching her and just like waiting for a moment. She's just been like, yes. Down below.
Is it okay if I do like a couple more shout outs, and then I have a song that's less than 2 minutes long that's unreleased?
Yeah. Oh yeah, please.
So if you are in the music industry, if you haven't already, go to nomusicforice.com. You can take the No Music for Ice pledge to boycott performing at Amazon sponsored events and to remove your music from Amazon's digital streaming platform. That's something that you can do. That's a good start. I also want to. I got a little list. That's what I'm looking at. Listen to people like Mariam Kaba. She is at Prison Culture on Twitter. She's an abolitionist and organizer in Chicago. She does really important work. I've learned a lot just by listening to her over the years. Read Angela Davis. It's Pride Month. So if you support the LGBTQ community, Stonewall was a riot against police violence. So you have to support the current protests and actions against police violence. Educate yourself on police and prison abolition, and then buy music on Bandcamp today.
Awesome.
And I can bring up the song. I'm going to play it on my phone. So let me know if you can hear it okay.
Okay.
I just heard my fire alarm tweet.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Less than 2 minutes. In the background, there's sounds from the ocean.
Oh, that's cool.
You can hear the waves. There we go. So that's an unreleased song. That'll be out sometime in the summer.
It was so soothing.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us and sharing the music.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. And reminder, donate to the Bail Fund.
Yeah.
Oh, which is like over here now. I've moved.
Gotta relearn everything.
Somewhere away.
Thanks, C.
Of course. Thank you and good luck.
Thanks.
All right. Winding down. It's been a great night. I think Portia's back. Is it true?
Portia? Hi.
Hello. Like magic.
Just like magic. The joke
Portia
that will
wins
never
for
die.
best background.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was telling Darren that I wanted a very Ravenclaw wallpaper, and I was showing him this one online. He was like, "It's not Ravenclaw." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, because for me, abstract Ravenclaw was like, I just want blue and bronze and the air filled with air. And he was like, "That's not what a Ravenclaw common room looks like. If you look at the pictures of it, it does not look anything like that." And I'm like, "That's not what I was trying to say."
This is what I'm talking about when I say this country has a crisis of imagination. Exactly this.
Yeah. It's very, especially always never forget blue and bronze and eagles, not ravens.
There's a video that my child is obsessed with right now that is a raven playing with a ping pong ball and a dog. And so that's all I can think about these days. Robin, have we any updates on the House Cup? Is Ravenclaw back on top?
I'm sure we do. I was too busy looking for the video for ways that you can give money without giving money. We
retweeted it on the HPA's timeline, so you can find it on there.
Thank you. We have Ravenclaw on top with Hufflepuff really close behind, guys. And the Gryffindors are still up there. They're still, eking their way in. But right now, Ravenclaw is on top. It's a fight. It's a battle.
Now and forever.
Where you at, Puffs?
Yeah, so people still have time to donate, though. Ravenclaw, you still have time to move into, or not Ravenclaw, excuse me, Gryffindor, my secondary house. There's still time to move into second place if you're dreaming really big. So yeah, I think it'll be good. Listen, I have a question that I put in the doc. And we could just wrap this up, but I've been thinking about this question a lot, and I'd like people to weigh in. Which is, oh God, I can't scroll, so I'm going to have to do it off the top of my head. We have talked throughout the night about like different styles for like houses and strengths and stuff they do to support and everything. And bringing snacks to a protest. At first, this seems like a Hufflepuff move, but is it? Is it more of a, I see it as a little bit more of a Slytherin move. Like it's an ambitious, like we're here for the long haul. We're gonna outlast you. And we're gonna eat snacks all night.
Snacks are universal. It just is. It's your snack philosophy, right? Slytherins are like, I need energy. So what's the proper amount of carbohydrates that I need to keep me going? And Ravenclaws are like, I want brain food. What's really going to stimulate my hippocampus or whatever? I don't know.
The decision-making one.
That thing. So Gryffindors are like, give me sugar and caffeine because I have to rage. I'll crash later. It's fine. And Hufflepuffs are like, all snacks. Snacks make me happy. Snacks are emotional. Snacks help.
I'm just really entertained, and shout out to all of my Hufflepuffs in the chat that are like, don't take snacks from us. It's the only characterization we get. Let us keep snacks.
Listen, Hufflepuffs, calm down. You are calm. You are.
Let's
calm.
have this one thing.
You are kind.
You don't have it. You guys have like the overall. When I think snacks, I think Hufflepuff. But when I'm thinking about protest food, I think that every house has a different philosophy for how they do it.
For how they do food?
For how they do snacks.
Also, I feel like because Hufflepuffs are particularly good finders, I think that they would be the ones to lead us to the snacks. If we all ran out of our own personal snacks, they'd be like, ha, I got you. I know where to find the snacks. Let's go. I've got you for this.
And if the snacks run out, the puff snacks never run out.
They never
have Hermione's purse of snack. Just an endless.
That is true. I have in fact left other important items out of a bag specifically because it didn't have enough room for the snack I wanted. I chose the snacks. So that's real.
Fit all the snack. Then you just got to get a bigger bag to fit all your snacks in.
I mean, that's what I ended up doing. But in the moment, the snacks were the winner.
I
have purposefully not packed food to add in one more book.
This is what have you chosen to left out of your bag?
But there will not be,
especially because like a book will smash a snack, so then it's like,
right?
Is it worth it to have like the book and the crumbs of chips or something?
And if you find yourself in an awkward situation or in a place you don't want to be, you'd rather have a book than food.
But I'm
stranded.
I mean, it depends how long you're there, though. How long that opinion lasts. Food will beat out book eventually.
But sometimes if you're trying to avoid an awkward situation, you're like, you don't want to be like the one crunching on something to make it even more awkward. You're just like, ah.
You have to be.
You can hide behind a book. You cannot hide behind loud, crunchy chips.
If you bring a big enough bag, you can.
Attention to yourself, Katie. What's wrestling?
Right.
The basketball player's name from the gift where he was like eating like popcorn and like
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
His name is Russell Westbrook. He plays for it. Never mind. It's right. Really
nice. So good people of the internet, if you've been entertained tonight, if you have a heart for justice, if you're just sick of watching cops, I try not to swear too much from the HPA, but if you're tired of watching them fuck shit up, and want to move this country forward in its sort of unending quest to just get better and not be a bunch of terrible racists and everything, you should go to where the link is and donate. Send your screenshot to Black Girls Create on Twitter or like whatever, they're on all the platforms, and include your house, especially if it's Ravenclaw. And yeah, that's about it. Y'all have any like last minute shout outs, encouragements to do something? Charlie said hearing me swear is a special tweet, and I can't tell if that's a treat to tweet or if something's coming. Anyway, anyone have anything they'd like to shout out before we close down the club?
I want to shout out Joy and Patronus and like finding it and keeping it and holding on tight to it, because I think that it's important. We're fighting for our joy. We're fighting for our rights to live and be and create a world that we want to see. But in the meantime, like, hold on to, like it's hard. It's rough. We've had 2020 has really tried us all. Like no one has escaped 2020. But in the midst of all of that, there's still joy. I saw the best video of a puppy yesterday that had me crying laughing. My puppy continues to bring me joy, and there's joy to be found. So shout out to that.
Shout out to Joy. That's beautiful.
Oh, how lovely.
I think any shout outs after this will be not as great as Joy, but anybody got any?
Well, in the vein of joy and Black joy, we have something up our sleeve for Juneteenth. So come check out Black Girls Create around Juneteenth weekend and see what we got going on.
Yay! Amazing. Awesome. Okay, so check things out. Y'all know the HPA. We'll be here.
Yeah, the cup is going until tomorrow. So you have the rest of today, tonight, and then also tomorrow to donate, and those donations will count to the cup. So
we are also partnering with Cause Quiz Trivia, and they're doing a Harry Potter trivia tomorrow as well.
No, not tomorrow. It's next week.
Next week.
Sorry.
The 12th. The 12th. I don't know what days are. But they're Cause Quiz is doing a Harry Potter trivia fundraiser, and that money goes to Campaign Zero and the National Bailout Fund. So you can find that stuff on our social media. So if you are enjoying this, raising of money and funds, but while doing fun things with your Harry Potter friends, check that out as well.
Yay.
Yay. Awesome.
Yay.
Thanks
everyone for hanging out with us.
Donate.
I feel like, and I understand, Kate, I feel like I'm pointing to Portia. I'm going to point to Portia, and Portia can take it now.
And then we'll over.
No. Beautiful. It's been a wonderful evening here on the internet with you all, and I hope you find joy and give money and do all the things. And yeah, I think good things are coming.
Go Ravenclaw!
Go Ravenclaw!